Okay, let's go.
Well, hi, friends of the Coachella Valley. Jose here from the New Mindset. So, guys, let me introduce you to a person that has been very highly talked about in the community of Palm Springs. I recently did an episode with Chief Andrew Mills, and he could not stop telling me about Miss Terri Ketover. She is a fantastic individual that's created a beautiful program here in the Coachella Valley for the city of Palm Springs called Do the Right Thing. Now, before we get started and all that, can you tell us a little bit more about where you grew up? Do you live in the Coachella Valley? And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jose. It's a pleasure. I do live in the Valley. I actually live in Rancho Mirage. We moved here in 1998, but I am originally from Miami, Florida. I grew up in the South Florida area and went to school there, went to the University of Miami, and went to University of Miami Graduate School as well and got my PhD there in 1976.
Oh, I see. So it's reintroducing Dr. Terri Ketover.
Well, now my husband, my sons, and you, that's now 4 people that call me doctor because I do now, I'm so happily retired from my practicing psychology, and now I'm more of just a community. I don't really love the word philanthropist, but I'm a person who devotes my time to nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, using certain titles to give yourself a bigger presence seems to be a common denominator around. But
yeah, it doesn't work for me. If you knew me well, you would say that's not Terri.
Well, the crazy thing is you make it sound like you're just a retired person that's living. Like, no, you do so much for the community. But let's go back to your past a little bit. Now, okay. I know you're the psychologist, but I'm going to interview you. Sit in my couch.
Go right ahead.
So, growing up in Miami, man, that must have been something. Do you have any siblings?
I have a sister who lives in Seattle, and she was actually in television for years, public television, and and then real estate. She's happily retired. And I had a brother who passed away about 7 years ago when at a young age, 67 years old. But there were the 3 of us growing up. Wow. We were in Miami Beach, Florida, and it was a really interesting time. Yeah. I grew up during the influx of Cuban refugees.
I was going to say, you were in Miami, Florida, growing up probably through the missile crisis and a few other things, I'm assuming?
Well, I don't think I'm that old. I'm not. Well, I probably am. But I do remember having lots of friends, starting when I was in elementary school, who had come from Cuba and relocated to the United States. So it was a very interesting place and time to grow up. We had a very mixed racially and ethnically based community, and I think that was really a plus growing up. It made me very aware of more of the various cultures and differences, if you will. Yeah.
Did you ever get to go to those? I love my Cuban friends. Did you ever get to go to those backyard parties that us Latinos, Cubans have them? And there's something else, right?
Yes, quinceañeras, and yes, I did. And it's a real treat. When we moved to the desert, I was glad that it's a great place to grow older, but I was glad that I had the exposure as a child to a much more diverse community than the desert is. Although the desert's changing. Definitely.
Right. Day by day. Yeah, it is quite changing quite a bit, actually.
Yes. And now I always say to new friends that I meet, that many of whom are from Mexico, and I say, please speak to me in Spanish, porque necesito practicar mi español. I need to practice my Spanish, what I knew as a child, because we spoke it with our friends. I've lost it, but I'm getting some of it back now.
Well, you're definitely in the right town, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it was fun growing up in Miami. We moved from Miami Beach to kind of the Coral Gables Kendall area when I was in junior high school. And then I stayed and went to the University of Miami and graduate school there.
Fantastic.
It was a very interesting place. It became difficult to live in Miami as the years went by because the weather could be very oppressive.
Right.
I lived through a lot of hurricanes.
Oh my gosh.
And also there was a lot of crime. And that's a difficult thing also, especially as a child. My sister was visiting recently, and we were talking about the 5 times that our family home was robbed.
Wow.
5 times. It was quite something. My father got 2 dogs so that they could bark and alert us if anybody was trying to break in the house. And the 2 dogs were kidnapped and held for ransom. My father had to cough up money to go get the 2 watchdogs back.
Oh my God.
They weren't the greatest watchdogs.
Right. Oh no. Did you so you mentioned growing up with you were 3 siblings. Were you, and I don't know that this plays a big role, you can tell me, were you the oldest, middle, or the youngest child?
I'm the middle child. I had and the overachieving middle child, I guess. My brother was just this. My mother was thrilled to have a boy, and then these 2 girls came along. My sister was the baby, and I was the one that was told, you must develop your mind, get an education. And my mom was divorced and raising these 3 children for, I guess she was divorced for at least 8 years before she remarried, and working several jobs to support the kids. And my mother used to say, be sure to get an education because you have to be able to take care of yourself. And so that was a real theme growing up in my house.
Well, that's a very great pearl of wisdom, if you must, because that you definitely need an education to get ahead in life. You definitely need an education to help yourself and help others around you. And really, I do believe that education allows you to put yourself in other people's shoes as well, because it does teach you about how other people learn. I recently found out that we don't all do math the same. You know, I know that sounds weird, but like the way you do 2 + 2 may not be the same way I do 2 + 2. And the reason that matters, I think, I don't know, maybe you can correct me. I think that matters because that helps us connect with each other and understand, like, oh wow, you look at it this way. Wow, I didn't think about it that way.
It really is important. But I think that it expands our awareness. It expands our knowledge about other people. It doesn't just expand what we know about math and science. And it's education is much more than that. It's a critical part of socialization.
Absolutely. And it truly does help not only build up the community, but strengthen our community. So definitely,
for sure,
all our kiddos out there, follow and pursue that education. If you think you can, trust me, you can. There is a way.
Yeah, and know what? And I mean, this is very hard when you're young, but if you have some insight into what you're good at or what you're passionate about, it doesn't have to involve college. It can involve trade school. It can involve on-the-job training. It's important to learn as much as you can about something that you love, because the people that are happiest, I think, in life are people that spend each day doing what they like, not agonizing every day when they have to get up and go to work.
You truly are a philanthropist.
Thank you.
But of course. Now, let me ask you, before we cut the commercial, I would love to delve more into the reason you became a psychologist. Could you give me a little insight as to why that path specifically? Did you have any incline growing up? This is something that you found like in high school, your formative years? It's more like you found it in college. What was that?
Jose, you're not going to love this answer.
Oh no! Oh, here we go.
But I'm going to be very honest. People have said to me, you're a natural psychologist, because people do open up and tend to talk to me. But that had nothing to do with why I went into psychology. I was actually pre-vet. I was going to be a veterinarian. And
oh my gosh.
School in a veterinary program.
And then they took your dogs.
I started taking lots of science courses. And when it got to the point where I was in laboratories, I used to pass out whenever I had to cut into an animal.
Oh my gosh.
The sight of blood, I would pass out. And my advisor wisely pulled me aside and said to me, okay, you have a lot of science credits. Find something to do in the science field that doesn't involve blood, needles. And
Wow,
so
that's
I kind
the
of looked
best
around and I
advice you
thought,
got.
maybe I'll be a psychologist. So that is
Yeah,
the
there you go.
uninspiring story of what called me into my my
That
field
is
of study.
actually that does help. You know what? Sometimes you start off a path and then halfway through you're like, you know what, this isn't for me. And then you find what you
Absolutely.
that just is sometimes,
Absolutely.
you got to live your dream to really understand if that's for you. That just is what it is.
Yeah, and just as an aside, it turned out to be a very good choice because as I got older, I developed terrible allergies to cats and
Oh
dogs.
my goodness.
So that really would have been a very bad career choice.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's use this moment to segue into our first commercial. When we come back, we're going to talk to Ms. Dr. Terri Ketover about what's going on today. We'll be right back. Hi, friends of Coachella Valley. Jose here from The New Mindset. Are you ready to elevate your listening experience? Dive into the world of The New Mindset of the Coachella Valley Podcast at thenewmindsetotcv.net, your ultimate hub for all things podcast. Explore our most popular channels, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. All just a click away. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just relaxing at home, we've got the perfect episode for you. But wait, there's more. Unlock exclusive discount links to our amazing sponsors, including Lego, BuzzBox, Amazon, and many others. Imagine saving on your favorite products while enjoying your top-notch content. Plus, we've curated links for all the essential apps we use for successful podcasting. Whether you're a starting creator or somebody more seasoned, we got your back. So why wait? Visit thenewmindsetotcv.net today and transform the way you connect with your favorite podcast. Remember, it's all about the new mindset. All right, and we're back. Doctor, I will continue to do that. Doctor,
Thank you.
Would you share with us, okay, before we talk about today, there's so much to talk about, but there's one thing I want to focus on. You created a program called Do the Right Thing. Now, you can find this right now. If you guys were to listen to the podcast and hop on your phone and go to dotherightthingps.org, you're going to find the page. Can you tell me about that page? How did it start and what does it do?
Well, it takes me back to Miami in the early 90s, late 80s and into the early 90s. I was a consultant for the police department. And the police department regularly held award ceremonies monthly to acknowledge outstanding police officers and administrative staff.
Right.
Now, the City of Miami Police Department is very large. There were over 1,100 officers plus 500 or 600 civilian employees. So an award ceremony, there might be 500 or 600 people there. One day at the award ceremony, as the ceremony was ending, a police officer said to the chief, I'd like to do something different. There is a young man in my area who found a loaded gun. This young man was probably 11 or 12 years old. He said, and his friends were pressuring him to keep the gun or give it to them. And instead, he sought me out and he turned the gun over to me. So I would just like to recognize him. So the chief said, of course, let's call this young man up. And this young man stood up and looked down at the floor, shoulders kind of shrugged down, embarrassed visibly, and started walking up to the front of the room. And 500 plus police officers got on their feet and applauded him. And I get chills when I think about that day. And when he got to the stage, tears started rolling down his face and a big smile came across his face. And I looked at him and said, this is a seminal moment for this young man.
Yes.
This is something he will remember. And after the ceremony, I said to the chief, we need to do this every month. We need to recognize kids who are doing the right thing. And so in 1990, I started a program with the Miami Police Department called Do the Right Thing. We had a stellar board who came on initially, including at the time Senator Bob Graham, Attorney General Janet Reno, heads of banks and law firms. People were excited by the idea. And we joined forces with the Dade County schools, and we by the time we were finished with the first year, we were receiving 1,000 nominations every single month. And we were selecting 10 children for special recognition. And
Fantastic.
to this day, the Miami program has recognized well over 250,000 kids. And there are now 70 Do the Right Thing chapters throughout the United States. There are 3 chapters in England and 2 in Germany. And
That's fantastic.
so that's how Do the Right Thing started. A year and a half ago or so, last April, the police chief here, Andy Mills, and then City Council member Jeff Coors from Palm Springs, who knew about the program, approached me and asked me if I would start the program here in the greater Palm Springs area. And frankly, I was a little hesitant because it's a tremendous amount of work. We started with no paid staff. I did everything myself, and I was already involved in 4 or 5 other nonprofit boards and organizations. But I love this program. It's the most important thing that I feel I've ever done. And so we started. And a year ago, April, we had our first Do the Right Thing award ceremony. We had, at that time, I think 30 or 40 nominations that month, and brought 5 young people in for special recognition. Last month, we had over 150 nominations.
Fantastic.
And we have given out now, since we started, 1,500 Do the Right Thing T-shirts. Every student who's nominated receives a certificate of commendation and a Do the Right Thing T-shirt and a letter of congratulations from Chief Mills. And beginning this month, they also receive a $10 gift certificate for McDonald's. So it's quite something. And then, as I said, we have 5 monthly winners. Those young people are brought to the police station for a special ceremony. KESQ, who is our media sponsor, films the children. I hesitate to call them children because some of them are high school seniors.
Right.
But they are on the news, local news that evening. There is a segment which covers them every month on Sandy Newton's Desert Chat Show. And they are posted, their photos are posted on our website to establish them as role models for their peers. And I do want to mention that we have huge community support. We started in the Palm Springs Unified School District. We last year enlarged our program and included Desert Sands Unified School District. And a week ago, we met with the 2 representatives at the superintendent's direction from Coachella Valley Unified School District, and we will now be in that district as well. So we are valley-wide, and every young person is eligible. They can be nominated by their teachers, their counselors, their parents, a neighbor, someone from their religious organization, a coach, and everyone who's recognized we consider a winner. That's why every one of them gets a T-shirt and a certificate.
That is so much work and blood, sweat, and tears that you have put into it. And I'm sure as time goes on and people start to understand the program better, it'll continue to get bigger and bigger.
Yes,
this isn't, can I tell you, this is not a program you've created. This is a legacy you will be leaving behind. It's fantastic, the work that you do.
Thank you. You know, it's so important to me. Jose, when you go to a monthly award ceremony and you see these young people and you see the impact that it has on them and their families, sometimes we have 6, 8, 10 people from their family and neighbors who come to the award ceremony. The mayors and council members from all of the cities in the valley have attended our award ceremonies when someone from their city is honored. They have all contributed money to help underwrite the program. And I have to stress that these are not necessarily kids who are doing anything that is life-changing for other people. They may not be turning in a gun, or they may not be saving someone's life. In some cases, they're straight-A students who are leaders in their school. But in other circumstances, these are kids who have a history of truancy. And and a bad attitude, and they just turn their attitude around and they become participants. They show up at school and they work hard. They may not be making great grades. They may not be accomplishing something that other people notice, but we notice. Their teachers tell us that they deserve a pat on the back. We are that pat on the back. We are the ones telling them, you are seen. Your progress is noted. Your efforts are important, and we salute you. We celebrate you.
That is, I mean, there's not enough words to describe what you do for, I can't, growing up, I grew up in the 90s. So what we had was the DARE program. I don't know that it's similar, but the top students of the class, I went to Santa Fe Springs Middle School. I forgot what it was called. We're the Eagles. I don't remember right this moment. But they would pick the top students of the class to be on the parade for DARE. And I got a chance to do it one year. And it just, I was I think I was in fourth grade, I think. And man,
you'll never forget it.
I never forgot it. And my passion for parades and entertainment and the stage, it's just something that developed. I could say, I believe that it did start with that taste of being chosen for something so unique and so special.
Yes, and those young people were chosen because they did something exceptional, or they were exceptional students.
Right.
We do celebrate those kids, but we are also looking at kids who maybe are not the high achieving students at school. Maybe fantastic. They are not the ones that are involved in all the extracurricular activities. We have some kids who they volunteer at the food bank with their families, and fantastic. That may be just the only thing that they do that's exceptional, but to us it's important. They may be they may have been gang affiliated, and they decide that they want to turn their lives around and not be involved in that anymore. We salute those kids. They do not have to be the highest achieving, award-winning young people. We are looking to recognize all of the kids who are doing the right thing. And
that truly is the message of helping your community. It doesn't start with just, I don't know if you would call it the top or the bottom. It just everybody, we are all living in the same community. Let's recognize each individual for who they are and what they do.
Well, Chief Mills, who is vice president of Do the Right Thing and critical to everything that we do, his comment, I think, speaks volumes. He says that what we are doing is increasing civility. And that's going to improve the community tomorrow and into the future.
Well, let's use this moment as a segue to go into a quick commercial. When we come back, we are going to talk about the future. Great. Doctor, I'll be right back. You know what? If you're craving a rich and vibrant flavor of traditional Mexican cuisine, look no further than Tamaleria Mi Ranchito. It's a local food that has been nestled here in the heart of Palm Desert, La Quinta, and the VA in Loma Linda. They bring an authentic taste of Mexico right to your doorstep. Let me have them tell you more about it.
Hello, I'm Erica from Tamaleria Mi Ranchito, and our family business offers you tamales of pork, chicken, and green chili with cheese. We are located at the Lowe's stores at La Quinta and Palm Desert, from 7 a.m. until we sell out. We will hope to see you there.
Well, if you're interested in finding some more information, don't forget to follow them on Instagram, Tamaleria Mi Ranchito, and taste that amazing Mexican cuisine made at home. Man, thank you guys so much for bringing that to us. And now, let's get back to the show. And we are back here with Dr. Terri Ketover. Doc, let me ask you about the future. I'm sure you are very well aware of the changes that are happening all around us. We are definitely going into a brand new 2025 in many ways, shapes, and form. And the community here in the desert is growing. I recently saw a TV, wasn't on the news, that I think the COD College of the Desert, our local college, is expanding to create more opportunities of learning opportunities for all of our students. And there's also more outreach here in the community that I've seen overall. Very excited for what's to come. And I'm very, very excited to hear what you have on your end of the woods and what is coming up next for not only Do the Right Thing, but for yourself. I know you're retired, but you have so much going on. By the way, congratulations. If I read the article correct, my editor-in-chief, Estefania Moreira, sent me an article that you received a star on the Walk of Fame stars.
I did several years ago. It was very, very exciting. It was surprise to me. And I don't know, it was one of the most exciting things that I've ever experienced. It was wonderful. And what I will also say is that our Do the Right Thing program, equally exciting. Last year, it was May of this past year, we were selected by the Riverside Juvenile Justice Department to win the award as the Outstanding Juvenile Delinquency Prevention Program in Riverside County.
Oh, fantastic.
So that was also very exciting. I guess I'm measuring my successes not by the awards I get, but by, I guess, hopefully the people that we're touching or I'm touching through my program.
Fantastic.
Jose, what you mentioned about COD is a good segue for me into what our future with Do the Right Thing. This past May, we started something called the Scholarship and Student Assistance Program. We had been so successful in getting sponsors and donors for our program that we decided to reach out, and we pioneered this program, piloted it with Palm Springs Unified. This year, we will be bringing the other two school districts in. Last May, we gave out $27,500 in scholarships.
Wow.
And these were not, what's different about our scholarships, they are not based on any minimum grade point average. As long as you graduate, you qualify. You just have to have financial need. And
oh my gosh,
it may be used for college. It could be used for community college, junior college. It could be used for on-the-job training. Let's say that you're not going to go into any kind of educational extension when you graduate. You need to get a job, and you don't have transportation. Our scholarship can help you get transportation so that you can enter the workforce. That's what we do. And in addition, we've given out now over $10,000 in what we call student assistance grants. We've had counselors contact us and say that our student, there was a fire in their home, they've lost everything. So we'll send them money to purchase clothing. We have other young people who have food insecurity and they need money for food. I think people are always surprised by the statistic that I'm going to share with you. Palm Springs Unified School District is perceived, I'm sure, as wealthy compared to the other two school districts or compared to any other school districts around. It is, in fact, not. 97% of the students in the Palm Springs Unified School District are considered economically disadvantaged. And 10%, which is over 2,000, are homeless.
Oh my gosh.
That means they do not have a permanent home. They are either couch surfing or living in motels with their families or sleeping in cars. And these kids have immediate needs. Jose, we have recently last month hired a part-time executive director, Dr. Amber Gascoigne. Okay. She's also the director of expanded learning for Palm Springs Unified, a brilliant young woman. She called me the other day and said, I was at a meeting about homeless issues here with our kids and found out that many of these kids cannot play in school sports or activities because they can't pay the $40 student activity fee. So she said, can we just start giving out student activity fees to these kids? And I said, absolutely, our board will love that.
Fantastic.
So we are trying to break down some of the barriers for kids through our scholarship and student assistance program. So that's, besides for continuing to recognize kids monthly, that's going to be the exciting, fun part for as we go into the future with Do the Right Thing.
Can I say something, Doctor? You first of all, you're not doing enough. What's going on here? Secondly, I want to say something for all of my listeners. Before we started this interview, Dr. Terri told me that she had this crazy cough and she had water next to her so she could sip it away as she was talking, and she might come in. Can I tell you, you're so passionate about what you're talking about. Not for 1 second have I heard a cough. I have not have to do a lot of edits with you. I love that. But you know why? It's because you're so passionate. That lights a fire in people. Can I tell you? You've seen the Rocky movies. I'm going to assume you have.
Yes.
Something that's crazy about that, when they first made it, they thought it wasn't going to hit. And the reason why it was so good is because people in the theater were like, oh man, rooting for for the guy, for Rocky to win. And,
Yes.
and, you get so passionate because even though it's a movie that's going to be always the same, no matter how many times you watch it, it's going to end the same way. People just hear the words, see the actions, and you create this type of light and fervor inside them. Can I tell you, you are doing that exact thing in real life.
Thank you,
as
Jose.
you're moving forward. Can I say thank you?
That passion comes every month when I look at these kids as they receive these wonderful prizes that our donors and sponsors give.
Wow.
I look at them and I see, and the recognition, I see them look out at, sometimes we have over 100 people in the audience for this award ceremony.
Right.
And they look at the respect and the recognition in these faces, and the kids feel seen, they feel important, they feel empowered. And that's, oh my gosh, that's where my passion comes from.
That's fantastic. I hope that people pick up on this and see. I mean, I'm sitting here. I've seen some things online, but to hear you, it's giving me I can see the clearer image as we continue to talk. And I hate that this is such a small, short podcast. I wish it could be longer so we can continue talking about even more details of all this. But let's use this moment to segue into my next segment, which is the Pearls of Wisdom. Now, I've already explained to Dr. Terri what it's about. I'll do a quick, brief mention of that. She's just going to give us a few tips and details on how we can explore some of what she does and see if any of my listeners, if you are inclined into doing this type of work and help for the community, Dr. Terri Ketover is going to give us a quick guide on what you should do to be able to do something like this. We'll be right back.
¿Qué tal, Valle de Coachella? ¿Tienen algún antojo de los ricos y vibrantes sabores de la cocina mexicana tradicional? Pues no busquen más. Tamalería Mi Ranchito es la respuesta que están buscando. Está situada en el corazón de Palm Desert, La Quinta y también en el VA de Loma Linda. Les traen un auténtico sabor de México directamente a la puerta. Y aquí tenemos a Cristian para que les cuente un poquito más sobre lo que hacen ellos.
Hola, soy Cristian de Tamalería Mi Ranchito. Nuestro negocio familiar les ofrece tamales de puerco, pollo y rajas con queso. Estamos ubicados en las tiendas de Lowe's Stores, de La Quinta y Palm Desert, de 7 de la mañana hasta que se nos termina el último tamal. Gracias por su apoyo. Nos vemos.
Pues ya saben, chicos, si quieren elegir un lugar que les va a traer autenticidad, frescura, variedad y conveniencia, vayan a verlos. Muchísimas gracias por ser parte del show. Ahora regresamos al episodio.
All right, guys, we're back here with Dr. Terri Ketover. First of all, before we even go into this, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the work that you're doing. I know that we definitely, once we finish this episode, we should probably stay on the call and talk about a few ways that the podcast itself and the entities that surround us and the sponsors that we have can probably come in and help in some way, some sort. I hope that we can work together to create a bond and help spread this even more so. And we're so thankful to have access to a lot of resources, and we very happy to extend our hand over to you. After chatting with Chief Andrew Mills, I knew I had to talk to you, and I'm very glad that we were able to find the time to do so.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So, like I said, we're in the part of our Pearls of Wisdom. I'm just going to ask you, there's no amount of time, there's no amount of numbers. You can't make a 3-point list of everything that you do. It's impossible. But I'm going to ask you, if you can, to give us the top hints. Somebody's listening out there that's like, man, I wish I could do something like what she did or what she does. Can you give us some type of a guide to say, here's the top 3 things you need to do, A, B, C, and D? What would those be for you?
Well, I'd like to just share a couple thoughts first. I have a very good friend who is probably on my list of the top 2 or 3 people I admire in the world. And that's former Senator Barbara Boxer, and who represented California in the United States Senate for 24 years and devoted 40 years of her life to public service as an elected official. And she quotes to me, she says, the 2 most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And that gives me chills, because all of us, well, let me give you the second quote and then I'll tie it together. This is something that I keep on my desk, a quote that says, it's not about what you're given, it's what you do with it. So I think all of us have something that we can share with others. And we are members of a community, and we are all connected. And we have a responsibility to look out for everybody in our community. Many of us have more than we need, and we can give financially. Many of us don't, but we can give a little bit of our time to help others. I know so many people who are involved doing everything from serving as a docent at the museum, reading to children in schools, helping out at the Fine Food Bank, finding something that speaks to you, that makes you feel good, and sharing that and acting on that. Not sometimes. I'm always embarrassed when people like you, and I appreciate it, but it embarrasses me when people tell me what I'm doing is so wonderful. And my comment to you and to them is it's totally selfish, because I get back far more than I give. And I'm not trying to sound altruistic. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. It's exponential. What you put out there, what you'll get back is so much greater. And I really want to encourage everyone to find something that they can do, something, even if it's one day out of the year. Find something you can do to help somebody else, and it will be so gratifying to you, and it will make our community better.
Wow, that's
my pearl of wisdom, and it's nothing original. It's certainly something that many of the people I know do every day. They give.
Very well said. Very well spoken. The message comes across entirely. You're right. It may have been said many times over, but listening to it one more time doesn't hurt.
Right. I hope people will act on it. There are just so many opportunities, especially now at the holidays. I mean, you can just take one toy and donate it to one of the toy drives. You can, donate food when they do the food drives. I know the post office usually has a day when you can put food in a bag and leave it by your mailbox. There are just ways to help. And again, if you don't have enough, that doesn't mean you don't have something that you can share with other people. Even if it's just by smiling at somebody, or giving them a hand, or holding a door open when they're struggling with packages, or something. Everybody can do something. You don't need to have an excess of money or time. You can do something. Sometimes a smile is a gift to somebody who's having a difficult day. But share. Share fantastic. The goodness that's in you with your community.
Well, that is the message to be given out, not only on this holiday season, throughout the year, throughout your lifetime. That is a fantastic message.
For sure.
And I hope, as you say, it's one thing to listen and take it in, but to act on it, it's a little more important. Don't forget, guys, as you continue on your day-to-day, do that. Do the right thing. Do something. Any little thing helps. It really, you can change somebody's life with a simple smile. You're absolutely correct. I do believe in that.
Yes.
And I have seen it. I've seen it. It's happened to me. I was a kid crying in the corner of a street because I didn't get the grade I wanted. I think I wanted like an A or something. I always got an A and I got a C. And somebody just said, "Hey, it's gonna be okay." Well, I don't even know that guy. He just said, "Hey, it's gonna be okay," and that helped. That changed my view of things. You never know.
Somebody cared.
Ever know.
Somebody saw you suffering, and somebody cared.
Exactly. It's something to live by. But, Dr. Terri, I don't want to take more of your time. You sound like a very busy individual, and obviously you have so much that's going on. And I'd love to, like I said, once we finish this episode, we'll definitely have to stay on the call and talk a little bit more and see how we can also assist.
Absolutely. And this has been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. And I hope that your listeners will go to dotherightthingps.org just to see what we're doing. And then if they know of a young person, a school-age child from kindergarten to 12th grade, nominate them.
Fantastic.
Go right to the website and nominate them. And that will change. That will make their day.
It's fantastic. Well, guys, as Dr. Terri said, don't forget to check out Do the Right Thing, ps.org. We will be linking that site over to our podcast. Make sure you're reading all of the intro so you can find those links. Thank you so much, Dr. Terri, for being here with us. Thank you for creating this beautiful program, Do the Right Thing. We're looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. I believe we are scheduled to be there for the next one, so we'll make sure to meet up in person. I'll try to be there myself. I usually send somebody from my team, but I'm going to make a presence to make sure I chat with you in person as well. And guys, to all of you listening this morning as you're working out, thank you for being with us. For all of you listening tonight, thank you and have a great night.